Good morning, everybody. Wake up.
Wake up, wake up.
In Provincetown. This week featuring
Wake up, wake up.
Can I have some coffee?
Wake up, wake up.
Make it strong, please. Hey. Ho. Hey.
Wake up, wake up.
Ho. No, really, can I have some coffee?
Wake up, wake up.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, May 6th, 2022.
Yeah. Thank you so much for checking out Wake Up this morning. If you haven't yet, be sure to scoot on over to our YouTube page and hit subscribe, like this video, post a comment. We love all that.
We've got a fantastic show for you today. Who's on deck, Harry?
We have 3 of the members of testNtreat coming in to chat about everything they've got going on this month, what testNtreat is, all the good stuff.
They've got a big 2-week initiative coming up later this month, and they're co-hosting trivia for the next 2 Mondays. So go play trivia, too. And also, we're really honored to have Madam Moderator herself, Mary Jo Avalar, is in the tap room to talk about growing up in Provincetown, serving the community for decades. And Bublo's upcoming season. They're opening next weekend.
It's exciting. I also sat down with DJ Andrew Lenox yesterday to chat about how he's wrapping up his 10-week DJ class, and they're doing a showcase tonight of all the brand new DJs that are about to be unleashed on the town.
Where's that happening?
The Vaults from 8 to 11 tonight.
And everybody gets like a set?
Everyone gets a half-hour set, and then after that, Andrew will get on the Eret and DJ.
What was that word?
The Eret.
Eret.
Right.
Can you spell that, please?
So what's going on? How was your week?
My week was wild. The Red-In is full swing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Last Saturday was like July.
Yeah, it really was.
It was, yeah, lots and lots of people. I wasn't really prepared for that. My back still hurts from it.
Yeah. My legs. Because it's like you're standing on your feet for 12 hours, and all those little muscles that you use to stand, I haven't used them that much this winter, so.
Did you have a sedentary winter?
Much more sedentary than working 12 hours behind a bar.
Totally. I mean, we should have probably ramped up to it.
Or like gone for a walk or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean by, walked a little more than we did.
Yeah.
But the Red-In is open 7 days a week now. There's no happy hour Monday through Thursday yet, but starting Memorial Day weekend, there will be happy hour 7 days a week as well.
So happy hour is?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday right now. So there is happy hour today from 2 to 4:30. Come say hi. Tommy Myers is back today.
Yeah.
He was back last night after a brief respite that lasted from August 4th until yesterday.
He's going to do like 6 share farewell tours.
Yeah. So if you want to say hi to Tommy, he's going to be there Thursdays and Fridays this summer. He'll be there tonight with me. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
What else did you do? You didn't just work, you had fun too, right?
I did. I managed to squeeze in some fun this past week. We moved trivia from 6 to 7, and it was a good crowd.
Oh, you did it at 7?
Yeah.
Oh, so then this is wrong.
Oh, we'll never get it right.
I don't know where I'm going. Yeah, anyhow. So trivia is at 7 again on Mondays. Is it outside yet?
No, it was not quite nice enough.
Oh, this is what I was saying.
But it was tons of fun. Me and Bob also went out to dinner last night.
We did. So, I mean, it's May 6th. Everything's coming back open. All of our favorite places. The Mayflower opened yesterday. Mistralino opened last night where we went and had dinner. I had the pork ossobuco.
How was it good?
It was delicious. It was a lot. The bowls that they serve food in there are like this.
It's like 4 meals in one.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have lunch later today from that.
Yeah.
What did you have?
The Sunday gravy.
What does that mean?
Like pasta sauce and like meatballs and sausages. I love that.
I do too.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah, everything was really phenomenal. Drinks, apps, dinner.
Yeah.
And then we scooted over to Spindler's to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Our friend Sunny was behind the bar, and we had a few margaritas each.
Yes. How are you feeling today?
So good. Can't you tell?
Yeah. How was the little bar?
I also made it to Little Bar after. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I love Little Bar, but you'll really only see me there when I'm drunk. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. But Spindler's, I don't know if everyone knows, but they've had an extremely successful Mexican night the past few winters. It was Wednesday nights, and this summer they decided to kind of expand on their Mexican night and make their menu Mexican all the time. So from my understanding, it's going to be the regular Wednesday night Mexican menu, and they did add a burger just to have that as an option.
So now we have a proper Mexican restaurant in town again,
Yeah.
as well as Rosie's Cantina.
Yeah. And the food there is phenomenal.
I miss Lorraine's. Were you here for Lorraine's?
No.
I saw Lorraine making picosos for Cinco de Mayo.
What's a picoso?
It is a cheese and shrimp stuffed jalapeno that is then battered and fried.
Damn.
It was like one of her signature items on the Lorraine's menu, and now that she isn't running the restaurant, she like makes them. If you can order them ahead of time, and so, I mean, the picture was more jalapenos than I've ever seen in my life.
That sounds delicious.
So Lorraine is available for like catering, private events, and just picosos if you want. Call her, send her a message.
Yeah.
They're so good. Kevin learned how to make them.
No way.
Yeah, so like if you have like a Super Bowl party or something, Kevin will bring picosos to your house
Killer.
in honor of Lorraine.
He's just ordering them from Lorraine and saying he made them.
No, because they're not as good as hers. Sorry, Kevin. No, Kevin worked, like his first summer, he worked at Lorraine's, and he probably doesn't want me telling this story on air, but so what? I don't know if Lorraine even knows this yet. There was a time when he didn't want to go to work, and so he didn't go to work, and then he told her that he got hit by a car, and went into work the next day to eat with a fake cast on his arm, and was like had dinner there.
He's gonna be so mad at you.
I know. Had dinner there in his pretend cast, and then left and took it off as soon as he got out the door, and I'm like, play the game a little longer than
that's
that.
a recipe for disaster.
And now he is the manager at Strangers and Saints. That was a long time ago. He's grown up. He's more mature now.
Yeah.
I don't think he would fake a broken arm anymore.
Good. That's probably for the best.
I hope. Did you see this article about us in here?
I did.
Look, you guys, everybody needs to pick up a copy of the Provincetown magazine. Steve DeRoche wrote a little article about us.
It is a really great article.
Yeah.
We look so cute in all our pictures. We got Alex Morse in there.
There is a glaring omission, though. I don't see...
To no fault of Steve.
Yeah, it's not Steve's fault, it's Harrison's fault. But we can't do this show without the help of our friends and crew, chief among them, Trevor Pittenger, whose name somehow does not appear in here. I need you to know that this is his fault.
It's not my fault.
It is his fault.
But this show really does take an army, and a few of the names are mentioned in here, but I just wanted to give everyone a little shout out on today's show. Mark Garat is our stage manager and one of our producers. He really kills it. Ethan behind the camera every week does such a great job. Andrew and Jonathan is behind the computer making us look like we have our shit together. And Trevor just kind of covers everything, our social media, so we are so grateful to our entire staff, and we love them so much.
It is a team effort, and we've got a little family going here. And if I look a little flush, it's because Mark was pressing my buttons immediately before we went live.
That's how we get Bob to
wake up.
Yeah.
Just make me angry. So give me some news from around the globe.
Well, speaking of journalism, the Provincetown Independent made their way to Boston this last weekend for the New England Newspaper and Press Association's annual convention. And part of that is the Better Newspaper competition, where they give out awards for different types of coverage. And hearty congratulations to them, because they actually got 17 awards. Some of them that were really exciting. The Arts and Minds section took first place among all New England papers in art and entertainment category. Their editor is Saskia Maxwell Keller. Congratulations. First place for a cartoon for all papers from A. Kroc, who does all of the cartoons in the Independent. And our good friend Paul Benson won 2 awards, one for climate change or weather reporting for his article Before the Deluge, Plans for Commercial Street, and another one for general news reporting on, his article was called On Being Inside a Whale. I didn't believe it at first either.
Oh, the Michael Becker story?
Yeah. That's actually what
Congratulations.
A. Kroc won. His cartoon that he did was also in reference to the whale eating someone.
Congratulations.
Yeah, put up
Paul
I think I
Benson.
pulled the clip. It's cute. It's a whale saying to a fisherman, he's like, I knew it must have been a human roll because I've never had that much meat in a lobster roll in Provincetown, or something like that.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So congratulations to Provincetown Independent. We use them so much as a source to get you. We kind of pick and choose a few articles each week from their magazine for local news, from their newspaper for local news. But their entire newspaper is truly incredible. So get a subscription, check it out.
Support local journalism.
Yeah, and it's also like as you read all the bylines, it's like all your friends, neighbors, just doing some really incredible journalism.
Yeah, help keep it alive. Didn't Gannett like buy up a bunch of small papers and then stop doing them?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, this is it's called The Independent. It is an independent newspaper that is owned and run by people that we all know. Yeah. Read it.
And they're also, it's them working so hard, like outrageously hard, to keep this alive because it's so important to our community.
Right. Yeah. And you can see Paul Benson at the Red Inn on Thursdays and Sundays all summer too.
Yeah.
Our intrepid reporter.
So this past week, there was shocking news from the Supreme Court about the potential of them overturning Roe v. Wade. And I just wanted to say a big thank you to our entire community. On 5 o'clock on Tuesday, a group of protesters gathered outside Town Hall. I think it was part of a larger demonstration across the country where people gathering at different town halls and courthouses to protest. And I think that's really incredible. And I think it's the first sign in a lot of things rolling back. And if you are anyone who feels like your rights might be up on the chopping block, it's time to get up for anyone else's rights as well. So if you're a queer person, I think next on the docket for them might be gay marriage. So like, let's stop them in their tracks now and get on board with fighting this now. Yeah, it's not great.
No.
Let's do some happy local news.
Okay.
We reported a few weeks ago that our friend Ariana Conklin purchased the East End Market, and she released some really exciting news this week, at least exciting to me. There is not a lot of places in town where you can get a good bagel, and you can add the East End Market to the list now. She just announced that they're going to start cooking their own bagels in-house. In a Facebook post, she announced that they're going to carry bagels. Paul Stefanik has joined the team and will be baking hand-rolled organic bagels. She obviously felt the same thing I felt, which is there's nowhere to get a bagel, and then she bought the East End Market. She's like, I feel like I have to. Yeah.
Excellent.
They're rolling out tomorrow. You can pre-order Mother's Day boxes up until tonight. The Mother Load is kind of their biggest box, and it's really cool. It's a dozen bagels, cream cheese, lox, capers, red onions, cucumber, dill, a bottle of champagne, fresh squeezed orange juice to make mimosas, and also flowers from Sophie from Spiritus. She's doing a pop-up shop called Stems by the Sea at the Captain's Daughter. And what's extra exciting about buying this Mother Load Mother's Day box is you're also supporting 3 incredible women-owned businesses in town.
So this Mother Load is just for Mother's Day?
Yeah, I think they're doing like specials for Mother's Day and also their launch. But you can order bagels from East End Market to be picked up this Sunday up until midnight tonight, I think. So be sure to do that. I think we ran into Ariana last night and she said they were close to selling out. So get on it.
And if you missed the episode of our show where we had Sophie on, she talked about how much she loves flowers. I tried to get her to do the flowers for my wedding, but she was booked.
Busy.
So if you want her to do flowers for your event, you need to call her like months and months in advance.
Yeah. She's doing flowers at Captain's Daughter, so be sure to, if you haven't seen her stuff, stop by and check it out.
Yay. I mean, also, have you been in the East End Market lately?
I have.
Ori has the best like Asian food aisle on the entire Cape. And I, as another half Asian person, I just want to say thank you to her for that. Because it's really hard to find good like fish sauce out here. I don't know if you...
Bob has to get it brought in from Boston.
I do. Yeah. Like when people drive into town for the weekend, I'm like, can you bring
papaya?
Go to Chinatown and get me all this stuff.
Are you privy to the bench controversy in town?
Refresh me.
So the bench that everyone knows that's at the Tremont Street bend on Commercial Street that sits like on the water side just past the Coast Guard station was destroyed over the winter by a snowplow, and since it's been removed, there's become a debate of whether it should be put back or not. Neighbors are arguing that it was a bit of a nuisance with noise and also litter, cigarette butts, things like that. But obviously a lot of people in town are nostalgic about the bench and want to see its return. People on the Facebook post I was reading John Dowd spoke about the bench. He said it was like a charming representation of our community. He likes the bench, and he dates it back to 1994 when he bought his house. Someone responded to that and said it dates back to at least 1964. So it is a historic bench in town.
That cute little guy that always used to sit there with the boombox, he knows how long it's been there.
We were talking about him this
Do you
morning.
know? Little Ricky.
Ricky, I love that.
Well, who is it up to? Like, is that town-owned property or is that person's yard?
That was also hotly debated on that Facebook post. People were pulling different like maps and renderings, and it was different on all of them.
Oh.
So they're gonna have to get to the bottom of it. Someone did post, I don't know that this is true, but they said that they spoke to the DPW, and the DPW had asked the owners of the house not to do any plantings there so that they could put the bench back, and they planted anyway. And the DPW asked them to remove the plantings, and they did not.
So they're claiming it as their property.
Yeah. This was all from a Facebook post, so this is all alleged, but yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get swept up in the bench controversy.
Canceled.
Yeah.
Bench press.
Yes, that's called Kelly's Corner.
Kelly's Corner. Cute. Let's see what else we got. There's news from the Barracks Project.
What's going on?
They've announced a court date. The trial is set to begin on June 22nd. It is expected to last 3 days. It's going to be only a judge. There will be no jury. And arguments are being prepared, and the witness list has been released.
The witness list?
Well, yeah, obviously they have to call witnesses. The plaintiffs will call the town planner, building commissioner, Steve Katsarinas from the Board of Health, and Patrick himself. Patrick will call engineers, architects, former and current town managers, the town planner, community housing specialists, and 2 select board members and real estate experts.
Where is this happening?
Barnstable Court. Yeah, Land Court.
Land Court.
Yeah, this was the law that was instated, I think it was last summer, that if you are going to put forward a lawsuit that could potentially slow a building project, you can be asked to put forward up to $50,000. And the judge did ask the plaintiffs to put up $15,000, which they did. So it's one of the first cases where they've used that. Yeah. I'm excited to see it resolved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will be resolved.
Well, it will be resolved one way or the other. Whether it will be resolved in the court of public opinion, we'll see.
Yeah.
If you dined at Sal's the past couple summers, you might have been lucky enough to sit on one of the tables right on the beach, which was a pretty magical experience. But unfortunately, those tables are going away. Any outdoor seating that was allowed during the pandemic will continue to be allowed if it's your property. But because the beach can't be owned by anyone, unfortunately, those tables will be going away.
Oh, I loved that. I only got to do that once.
I got to do it once as well.
But it was really special.
Yeah, it was really nice. That was added to the 2016 lawsuit against Sal's by a neighbor, and that was added to one of the complaints. So at least that will be resolved now.
So much controversy.
Yeah. Now I have a few stories that are kind of a lot of things we've been talking about the past few weeks. Just another check-in to the Disney debacle in Florida. Citizens of the counties next to the Reedy Creek district are now suing Ron DeSantis, saying he violated the rights of taxpayers. It's estimated that municipal services will cost neighboring counties $58 million annually if they were to take over the financial responsibility of those for the Reedy Creek district, which could see a 25% increase in property taxes.
Wow. That stings.
And don't most people live in Florida because they don't like taxes?
Yes.
It's a very low tax state. So people aren't going to be excited about that.
No, oof.
And
Ouch.
that doesn't include the $1 billion in debt in bonds that Florida will also be responsible for.
Yeah, that wasn't very well thought out on Ron DeSantis' part.
That's so shocking. Matea Roach, the woman who we've been talking about for the past few weeks, is still on her Jeopardy streak. Last night she won her 23rd game and has won $561,000.
And she's 23 years old?
23 years old. She's now 5th all-time winnings for regular Jeopardy and also 5th for longest win streak.
And what was her joke about buying a house?
She's like, am I going to be the only person in my 20s that can ever afford a house? She just keeps saying these like perfect.
Too real.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, killing it.
I mean, hopefully she just keeps going. Keep going.
Yeah. I mean, it would be really cool to have 2 big streaks this year and also both queer people, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another check-in, we talked about Don Lemon being sued. It's been 3 years that this Dustin Heiss has been claiming that he was assaulted by Don Lemon in a bar, and he has dropped the case. He's saying that he misremembered the night's events.
Once he was proven to be lying about
Exactly. Well, this comes just before the trial was set to begin and after a judge ordered Heiss to pay Lemon's legal fees for failing to comply with court rules. And his case began to fall apart when the people that were supporting his story basically said, like, recanted their statements and said that they were pressured and bribed by Heiss to tell this story.
it. That person needs to, like, go to jail.
Yeah. There's also an account of someone that the guy went to high school with, basically saying that that guy did to him exactly what he had claimed Don Lemon did to him.
It's always that.
Yeah. Not a good look.
No.
No.
Good for Don Lemon.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about it in Just Like That?
Of course, always.
Mark is like, let's not talk about that anymore, but maybe one last time until next season. But we were big fans of it Just Like That, and we did talk about it. There was one episode where basically the whole show was about that. Mm-hmm. But Kim Cattrall is finally breaking her silence about why she wasn't involved in the project. She actually said she wasn't even asked to do it, but she understood that because when she was asked to do the 3rd movie, she was like, I'm not doing this, I will never do this again. And she didn't cite her feud with Sarah Jessica Parker, which is what we had all assumed she wasn't coming back for. She basically said that when she was approached about the 3rd movie, she asked what her storyline would be, and she was very displeased with it. Her big storyline for the 3rd movie was to be her having received dick pics from Miranda's teenage son. And she just felt that to be a little frivolous, and like she's like, I'm not coming back to do that.
Right.
She suggested a different storyline where, due to the 2008 financial crisis, she might have fallen on financial hardship and had to sell her PR firm. She just wanted something a little meatier, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Team Kim. Oh boy.
Exactly. This is a quote, as difficult as it was and as scary as it is to stand up and not be bullied by the press or fans or whomever, to just say, I'm good, I'm on this track, it was great working with all of you, I so enjoyed it, but I'm over here. Mm-hmm. So that seems like it.
That was kind of always her position. It's
Yeah.
too bad that people were badgering her. I was Team Kim that whole time.
Yeah. You know what I wanted it to be.
What?
I wanted Sarah Jessica Parker to not be on it. I thought that would have been fun. But she did throw a little bit of shade. She says she hasn't seen any of the And Just Like That episodes, but says that her new texting relationship with Carrie, that it was odd and feels different than the Samantha that she played. We love that subtle shade. One more thing. We've been talking about Brittany Griner being detained in Russia and being charged with drug charges. The U.S. government has adjusted its stance, and they're now saying that she's been wrongfully detained and is committing to action to bring her home. Before, they were planning on letting the Russian legal system play out, and this is good because they think they're gonna put a lot more pressure on it and try to get her back home. Their WNBA players and supporters in Congress are now told that they can be as loud and boisterous about trying to get her back, and they have the family's blessing to do that, so that's great. The case is now being led by Special Presidential Envoy for Hostage Affairs.
Oh boy.
So they're
She's a hostage.
that's what they're viewing it as now. Yeah. So that's not great.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's better for her that people are going to be able to like make a little more noise about it.
Yeah,
And not
definitely.
just us.
And hopefully, right.
You
I was
know.
like, should we not have been talking about it? Yeah. I just stopped by and chatted with Andrew Haig yesterday about his upcoming DJ class and the DJ showcase tonight. Check out this interview I did with him. Welcome, Wake Up viewers. We are at the newly renovated Wave Bar here at the Crown Anchor with one of their resident DJs, DJ Andrew Lenox. Thanks for sitting down with us this morning.
Thank you for showing interest in this new project that we're working on. I'm excited about it.
I'm super excited about it. So if you don't know, Andrew has been hosting a 10-week DJ class right here at the Crown and Anchor. For anyone who wanted to learn how to DJ, how did it go?
I am really excited. The people that we've brought on, the people who've gotten involved and invested in this project have really bought into what I value and what I think is most important about DJing, which is the willingness to sort of share and be open with what you're interested in. And what I find the most exciting about working with some of these students is how different each one of them are and the different individual things that each person sort of latches onto. And that's been really exciting for me too. And I've sort of been re-exposed to some music that I hadn't thought about. And I mean, there's a lot that I've learned just from watching and having to like get back into the basics of what it means to do all this stuff. So it's been very exciting.
What do you feel like are the prereqs before you come to day one of a DJ class with Andrew?
Willingness to work, willingness to invest in your own style and your own ear, and willingness to, because everything takes time. I mean, music takes time. Music happens in time, and you need to really be willing to give yourself the time to figure out what speaks to you and what moves you. Because if you are not personally feeling moved or motivated or excited by the things that are happening around you, the crowd in front of you isn't going to feel that. They're going to know that what you're doing isn't part of your soul. And I think that that's something that really sets an individual musician apart from another one, is that people who are in your party know that what you're offering them is moving you as well. You know, that you're part of you're in on whatever's going on.
Totally. How long have you been DJing?
I mean, I think I'm probably 5 years now, 4 or 5 years.
Oh, wow.
But I started as a producer. I mean, I'm a composer first. My master's degree is in composition, and from orchestral classical composition, I got involved in producing, and it was kind of like a guilty pleasure early on. I was producing electronic music sort of in secret. And then as I started to get more excited about what I was doing and I started to get better at it, I wanted to find a way to use it. And then I started learning how to DJ in order to like combine what I was doing production-wise into sort of a wider environment. And I was learning around Germans and Dutch people and the sort of more of a European club scene. And it was a different ideal. But what I found is that learning from that group of artists has really informed a lot about what it means to be in this environment, which I'm really happy to be able to bring to what we're doing here in Provincetown.
So you're kind of a relatively new addition to the Provincetown scene.
Yes.
What brought you here?
I finished my master's degree. My visa in Europe was ending. I was kind of getting frustrated with some of the limitations that I was seeing and kind of a limited scope or view of what it meant to be part of a club scene in the Netherlands. And so simultaneously, I had heard through various grapevines that Jonathan Hawkins was purchasing this place. He and I had worked together on some audio production stuff. If you saw last year for 2020 for Carnival, I guess it was 2020 for Carnival, there was a Somewhere Over the Rainbow with a whole bunch of artists from the town. That was my production work that I'd done for him. And so he and we'd worked together on some things, and he said, I'm going to have an opening for somebody. Would you be willing to consider coming back and taking part of this project? And I was very excited to do that because of the quality that I know that he brings, and that the people that he'd sort of surrounded himself with, that they bring to this investment. So I was happy to be a part of it.
And now you're kind of expanding the brand and community around the Crown and Anchor. How many students did you have?
We have 6 that are participating in our DJ showcase tonight at 8 p.m. And that I'm very, very excited about, to give each one of these 6 students the chance to really sort of show you, because they each get 30 minutes of time to get into their own style. And it's very noticeable how different they are and how differently they mix between things. And it was really nice to have 6 because it meant that we could really kind of get into each one of their individual like focuses and the things that they like doing, and to sort of, we would come into the classroom and they would, work on transitions and stuff, and I might say, I see that you're wanting to go from this track to this track, and this is what's prominent in this one, and this is what's prominent in this next track, and maybe you could work with this particular part of the technology to make those transitions happen. And being able to get into individual needs was interesting to me. It kept me kind of on my toes mentally in the class. So.
We now have one of Andrew's star pupils, one of his many star pupils, KT. How's it going?
It's going.
Good.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, what made you want to learn how to DJ?
It was something that I've always wanted to try just by going to shows and loving music. And then Andrew happened to be teaching this class, and it was just the perfect timing. And I jumped in and I haven't looked back.
I love that. While you were going through the class, were you shocked by any elements of DJing that you found harder or easier than you thought it was going to be?
Yes. I guess going into it, I thought that you could pick 2 songs and just find a way to press buttons and that they would fit together. But there's a lot more to consider about what key they might be in or the tempo of the song and manipulating them from those directions. So that was something that took me off guard.
And that's like, honestly, from my perspective, one of the things that makes a DJ really great or not is their transitions. Because you'll be like dancing and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, wait. And then you have to readjust.
Yes.
But yeah, so those transitions are important.
They are.
So I know one of the things about DJing is kind of like honing your personal style of DJing. Have you taken any thought into what yours might be?
I have taken a little bit of thought, I guess. Well, lately it's been mostly pop-influenced house fusion, though I do want to begin to segue into other genres. It's kind of hard once you start to not want to mix everything together.
Right, like do one set with every single type of music in it?
Yes.
Great. Speaking of sets, do you have any bookings already lined up?
I do. I'll be playing Dyke Dock is where you can find me next. I believe it's June 6th at the brewery.
Awesome, and that's Kristen's party, right?
It is.
Cute. So get your lady friends, come out. You said June 6th?
Shake your hot ass. Yeah, June 6th at the brewery.
That's Pride Weekend.
It is.
I love that.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we will see you there. What are your goals for your students moving forward?
I want them to work. I want each one of them to and we here at Crown and Anchor we have some possibilities. I can't support, we have 2 resident DJs on staff, myself and Chris Racine, and I can't just support 6 other people's careers, but I do want to be able to push, to give people more opportunities and to give their names out as like these people can support this environment that you have. And which is part of the reason why we're doing this showcase as well, is that I want to show these people to the local business owners and people who have events and venues and say, these are 6 young, queer, interesting artists that can support and be unique in their own ways. That's my real goal. I mean, I also want my own little like gang of people that can be like, hey, check out this new tune that I heard, check out this new DJ that I've run into, or, like I want my own little motorcycle gang of DJs to hang out with. So
I love that.
Yeah.
So you can check out 6 of your students tonight
Yes.
at the Vault.
Yes. Yep. 6 of them tonight, 8 p.m. Come anytime between 8 and 11 p.m. You'll hear any one of them. It's all their DJ debuts this evening, and I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm really excited to share them, and excited for them to be able to share what they've been excited about over the last several weeks. So.
And when and where can we check you out?
All the time, everywhere. I'll be DJing after the showcase is over. I'll take over and I'll play for however long people stay at the Vault. But I mean, we'll be here every weekend. I'm sure I'll be somewhere on property here at Crown every weekend until the season starts. And then it's going to get kind of crazy. So, I mean, follow my Instagram, follow Crown's Instagram. You'll know.
Perfect. Well, we can't wait to check you out and all your students tonight.
We will be here and we'll be ready for you.
Yeah. Put on your dancing shoes. We'll see you at the Vault at 8.
No?
That's in the old days, just look at Joe Biden.
Oh, you guys.
So be sure to check out that showcase tonight. They've done some upgrades to the vault. They've done upgrades all over the crown, but they've got some new upgrades to show off at the vault tonight, along with their 6 new DJs. So be sure to check that out.
Now, please welcome to the show the Test and Treat gang, Jeff, Lakia, and Jamie. You guys, thank you so much for making some time to be here. They also have the centerfold in this week's Provincetown magazine with all of their events for their 2-week Update That App event. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
So this is like the 3rd summer of Test and Treat?
Yes, we started in 2019. So, and it's been great. It's been it started from seeing in the clinic that you can get tested anytime in town, but what happens when you get something, and so running against the barriers that people get, trying to get treatment, or trying to get prep, or they forgot their prep at home or whatever, just trying to. So we've solved all those problems, and so they can come over to us for help in whatever way they need. Yeah.
So what's going on in May?
So we are running a promotion called Update That App. A lot of the apps have when you last got tested, and maybe you've had that experience where you're looking and they're like, they're cute, and like, they last got tested in 2018. Girl, update that app.
I think it's because of P-Town, but like almost everyone says October. But it's because they all get tested at the end of the season. It's been a slow winter.
Oh man.
It's probably true.
Yeah.
It's probably true, yes.
But like, update it.
Right.
It's great.
And there's also the theory of if a lot of people get tested around the same time, then a lot of people will get treated if they have something, because most of the time these things are asymptomatic, so you don't really know if you have something. And so if a lot of people get tested around the same time, then it will have a baseline of taking care of things, and there'll be less to spread around. And of course, we have visitors all the time, but that still will have an effect on those kind of things. And we have some events. We're also giving incentive cards when people come in and get tested. You get a little incentive card for coming in. You get fabulous service from us, and
That's true.
And the thing is, like, we just focused in on it. It's amazing we get anything done.
I feel like the 3 of you have a lot of fun at work together.
Yes, we do. We do.
But we also want to provide a stigma-free environment. It's very sex positive. There's no shame whatsoever. In fact, if people come in with shame, we get rid of it for them, and they're gonorrhea. So
Is that a shot to the shame?
Huh?
Is that a shot to
a
the
little
shame?
bit. Yeah. It's more deeply embedded.
You're right.
When you started this, it was just you, right?
Actually, I had someone who worked with me, Karen, who worked for a couple years, and then she left around COVID when COVID started, and we sort of shut down. So, but yeah, and she definitely was my right-hand person during that. She was actually a nurse practitioner, working as a nurse to help, and really gave a lot of, I think that we like to challenge each other on different things and have some really heartfelt conversations about how to talk to people, what to look out for, and what to, sometimes I'm a little blasé about infections. It's like you get an antibiotic and it's gone. Not to reduce it, but some people have the reaction of I call them up and I say, "Oh, you have gonorrhea," and they're like, "Oh my God," and I'm like, "Oh, is this your first STI?"
Is that one gonorrhea?
No, this is chlamydia.
Chlamydia.
So,
This is gonorrhea.
That's gonorrhea.
That's
yes.
syphilis.
And that's syphilis. Right.
I mean, you've made them so cute. Shouldn't they be kind of scary looking?
I didn't make them, but they're a little bit of both, but they shouldn't be that scary. They're I like to say, if you hooked up with somebody and you got the flu because you're making out and had to, is the flu now an STI? So it's just something that's caught that way, so is the goal for people not to touch each other and not to have sex.
Right.
And that's not necessarily my goal. My goal is just to keep people healthy while they're doing things. And so I like to say, I want you to have as much or as little sex with as many or as few people as you want, as long as they're consenting. So, and I'm just here to help make that happen, and and help to keep you healthy during that.
Now, the last time I talked to you about this, you were saying how, I mean, even nationwide, this is kind of a pilot program.
Yeah, this is very progressive. There are a lot of the things that, so when I started, we run into these barriers of a lot of our visitors have insurance, but when you cross state lines, your insurance changes. And so some insurance plans will say, oh yeah, we can take care of you, you just have to go to an emergency room. And where's the emergency room here? Hyannis. Right. So if someone maybe has chlamydia in July and they're here on vacation, are they going to hop a bus,
right.
Get an Uber, whatever, go down to Hyannis? They're not going to do that. So they'll wait. Are they going to stop having sex during that time? Who knows?
Lakia knows.
So it really is just making that accessible. And so then if they come up there and they go, well, I'll just go ahead and pay, then you've got to pay the fee for whatever. And for some people, that's nothing and it's fine. None of the services that I do weren't available. I'm not saying that right. You could get the services that I do at Outer Cape beforehand. You just go through your insurance. We also have as a federally qualified health center, we do have sliding fee scale discounts and other things. We don't turn people away because of their inability to pay. But also if you go there, like that doesn't, just because we don't turn you away doesn't mean you may not get a bill. So this provides, we've been very creative. I went to the town when Morgan Clark was here, explained the problem, and she got me a grant, or she gave us some money from the town, and so we cover the cost of medications, and then my time's covered by another grant, and so someone can come in and they can get treatment for their chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, at no cost. So we usually will talk to people and say like, what are your concerns about costs? Is that a barrier for you? Because a lot of people in town, it's not a barrier. They don't care. Like you say like, it's gonna be $500 for test. They're like, sure. And some people you say it's $20 for test and they're like, I don't know. Right. So we're here to sort of, I can use a combination of tests. Like we have the state labs, for HIV, Hep C, syphilis, chlamydia, and gonorrhea. There are some other labs that you might need for PrEP, hepatitis B, and kidney function labs. And so, like getting all those together is just it's a labyrinth. It's really difficult. So we help cover all those if people need it, or at least counsel and let them know what the expectations are, what the cost might be. And then if that's something that they need help with, we've got them covered. So the thing that's different about our clinic is, if you're seeking PrEP, 99.9% of the time you come in, you see us, you leave with PrEP. It's not something that, when the tests come back, because I've really sort of challenged all the thought processes about like why we hold, a lot of places hold back and don't provide those services, or they act like PrEP is a controlled substance, and it's not. So.
Can people walk in, or do you have to make an appointment?
So we prefer an appointment just because we don't really, if you walk in, if we're available and we have time, we're absolutely going to see you. But the best thing to do is to call the number, and then we can get back to you. Once you get established, we also have cell phones that we get texts from people. It's really great because we've created this atmosphere of, you can be honest about, what your risks are. So I get texts that say, I was a big whore last week, can I come in for testing? I'm like, sure. Yeah, and so people are getting more testing because they feel more comfortable. Because if you create that, nobody wants to, there's no gay man who wants to have an STI. If they have gonorrhea in their throat, they want to get rid of it, So, so once you get that established, then people will come for it.
Yeah. And so all the information is here in the magazine for you.
testNtreat has our own direct line.
Yeah.
So you have to wait.
Pick this up, check it out. Go play trivia with them in Harrison on Monday. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thanks
it's so
so
good
much.
to see you.
It's great.
You
Thanks
guys
a
are doing
lot.
really good, important work. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Of
Thanks.
course.
Thanks for coming in. The movie night is May 12th at the Crown and Anchor, and they're going to be showing Girls Will Be Girls.
Yep.
Yes.
Starring Varla Jean Merman.
Yeah, we got the trailer for you now. Check it out.
Ah. What's wrong?
Let's save the kisses till I'm sure you mean them.
You know.
We are now here. We now have Madam Moderator herself, Mary Jo. Thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
I just want to say this is a real honor for us because I feel like for those of us that didn't grow up here, depending on when you moved to Provincetown, there are certain people where you're like, that person to me is Provincetown, and I don't know anybody that's more Provincetown than you.
Oh, thank you.
Like I've always thought of you that way, even though you didn't know who I was. We've always known who you are.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you for all the work that you do for the town. How long have you been the town moderator?
I don't know, really, because I first got elected to they call it the select board now, in 1976. There was a recall election. The government was in shambles. They had hired a town manager who was under indictment in the state of Vermont. I mean, we had no books, we had no records. And what happened was the selectmen didn't reappoint the fire chief to the Board of Fire Engineers, and that just started the whole thing rolling, and that's when all the mess got uncovered. And so that was in 1976, and then I served until 1990. Then I went off for a while, and look it all up, tell you the truth.
But serving the town since the 70s.
Yeah, it's my hometown. And my sister Susan is on more boards than I've ever been on. I mean, she's like on the Harbor Committee, she's on the VSB. I can't even keep track of all the boards she's on. And she's a retired school teacher. She taught at Provincetown High School. She taught Spanish, and now she teaches children to sail at the West End Racing Club.
Yeah, I'm on the visitor services board with her.
Oh, that's right.
It's a pleasure
Okay.
to serve alongside.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's my parents were very active in local politics, and I grew up in the East End of Provincetown, which in those days there were two grade schools. There was one where the Tremont Street parking lot is now, and then where the Alden Street parking lot is now. So it was the Eastern School and the Western School, and it was really, there were lots of kids, and it was like you never wanted to cross. I never wanted to go across Court Street. I was scared to death I was going to get my ass handed to me. That these West End kids were, brutal. And basically the way it worked, with the fishing industry and stuff, was the captains lived in the East End and the crew members lived in the West End. You heard Portuguese spoken in the West End all the time. My father spoke Portuguese. I only heard it spoken when my father's sister Kate was around, and Bobby Anthony's aunt was my Aunt Kate's best friend, and they'd sit in my grandma's living room and they'd speak Portuguese. I grew up, it as Poor Richards. The William Scott Gallery was my bedroom. That's the bedroom that my sister and I shared. And the studio next door where Cheryl is now, I think, or Cheryl or Harvey Dodd was, that was my grandma's front room. That's where I grew up. And it was a very liberal, the East End was, in my opinion, a lot more liberal-minded than the West End was. And my father didn't care who you were, what you did, where you were from, as long as you didn't keep him up at night. That's the only thing. That was it. And when my parents sold the property, it was known as Avalar's Wharf, they sold it to these two gay guys that used to stay there all the time. And that was kind of, I guess it might have been kind of unusual, but my parents were very open-minded, I have to say. One was a Republican, though. My mother was a Republican. Daddy was a Democrat, and we're very liberal Democrats, I have to say. But I think my mother voted more Democrat than she ever let him know. I think she was that was her independence, and she was, at one time she was president of the Lower Cape Republican Women's Club. My father was going berserk. He was so embarrassed by that, but it was a wonderful childhood, growing up on the beach, just running back and forth all day long, from the time I got up in the morning and until I went to bed at night. My mother had cottages there, and Daddy rented small boats out like Flyer does. But I'm not the nautical member of the family. That's my sister. Daddy bought the Hindu. They sold the property to my cousin, to the two guys, and my father bought the Hindu from his nephew Al Avalar, who started the Dolphin Fleet. So the Hindu came to Provincetown with my cousin Al. And that's what my father did, and he worked until he was about 80 years old, and he retired, yeah. So Susan worked with my father on the boat. She's got captain's papers. I can row.
That's as far as it goes.
Basically about it, you know. If I had to, because I did go to sailing school one time, if I had to, I could probably get a boat in, but it would be, you know, a little touch and go.
I mean, for somebody that's lived here your whole life, we all talk about how much things have changed just in the last 10 or 15 years.
Right.
You've seen them change tremendously.
But that's what life is all about. And, you know, I really get very tired of these people that say, oh, I wish it was like it was, you know. I mean, it's never going to be like it was 10 years ago, 15 or 50 years ago, you know. I mean, it's just not going to be that way. And people that I think resist change find themselves, they're probably miserable all the time.
Right.
I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
And you just have to learn to live with it. The thing that's the saddest, though, is, you know, the housing situation, of course. And I've got to give a shout out to the Church of St. Mary the Harbor, my church, that is going to rent the rectory out to J1 students this summer from May 15th to September 15th. Because our the interim rector, we lost Terry, he retired after 15 years. Our interim rector has a place in Truro, he has a home, and so they're going to rent the rectory out, and I'm very proud.
That's
Proud
incredible.
of them, isn't it wonderful?
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh wait, while we're giving shout outs, I do have to give a shout out to our mutual friend Rick Murray,
Okay.
who helped set up this interview.
He likes me right now.
Not always?
Well, we have our moments, you know. We have our moments back and forth. But yeah, but Bill and I always got along, you know. Bill, I think they do a good cop, bad cop thing. And but you know, Rick has been a really important town meeting member, and he came up from Florida for the town meeting. Of course, he just had his, you know, rotator cuff done. But he's really been a really active member of the community, and I have to give him thanks for that, even when we've had our moments, so to speak. You know, he's a good town meeting member.
I feel like for a long time at town meeting, you probably knew everybody on a first name basis when they
Well,
step
I
up
knew
to
their
the
last
microphone.
names.
Right.
This is the thing now, you know. Sometimes I have to write down yellow shirt, you know. I have to, because I might not know their last name, and the town meeting is a formal occasion.
Right.
You know, you're not going to be a first namer at town meeting. They don't do it in the House of Representatives. They don't do it in Parliament.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a formal thing. So sometimes I don't always remember somebody's last name. I might know their dog, but I might not know them. You know, so yeah.
I had a question about the town meeting. You often correct people when they use the abbreviation P-Town.
Oh, I hate that.
Is that a personal thing?
Well, you know, people that grew up here, you talk to my sister, our town is Provincetown, you know, and where this P-Town thing came from, I have got no idea, but I hate it. The town is Provincetown, in my opinion. But that's another losing battle, I think. But thank you for calling your show, you know.
There was a debate when we were starting the show. We were like, should we call it Wake Up in P-Town or Wake Up in Provincetown? And I was like, I insisted on Provincetown.
Yes, thank
that's
you.
the name, that's where we live.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob.
I mean, they don't do it anywhere else. You know, I guess maybe they do it in places like San Francisco, they call it Frisco, or San Fran or something, or LA, but you know, but Provincetown is Provincetown, and it's unique, and I just don't think it should be abbreviated. You know, represent the history that we have here, that kind of thing.
So Bubbalis is coming back next weekend.
May 17th.
May 17th.
May 17th, yep. And I guess we'll be going into clean next week. And I love working. It's my 23rd season.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And you made desserts there that whole time too?
No. When I started working there, what happened is we had sold the Advocate. My husband and his family owned the Advocate, we sold it to the Banner. And Dwayne said, oh, we're going to go on the boat, we're going to go to the beach, we're going to do... Well, you know, he was like with the New York Times under his arm all day and couldn't get him out of his bathrobe. And I said, this is driving me crazy. So I ran into John Yingling on the street and I said, I'll peel potatoes in your kitchen. I said, but I've got to get out of the house. I need a break. I'm just somebody... That's why I was at the Stop and Shop this winter, because I just got bored being home. So he said, okay. So I got a job as a hostess. It was 3 days a week. And then it kind of expanded into regular 5 days the following years. And then during the George W. Bush administration, Junior Bush, they started clamping down on the H-2Bs. And the guy who did the baking couldn't get in. So I said, you want me to make something? And that's kind of how it started.
Excellent.
So this will be my 23rd year. The Yingling family has been wonderful to me. I can't say enough good things about them. And John's entrepreneurship, second only. You know how he got here? Came after college and came to Provincetown and wanted a slice after the bars closed. We never heard from pizza. So he started Spiritus, and it's over 50 years now. You know, and then one by one he just added, you know, the Cafe Advige was named after his mother, and now it's local and Spiritus, and you know, I mean, he and his family have done a wonderful job. You mentioned Sophie earlier. You know, I mean, the whole family, they work so hard at the business, and I have to give them so much credit, and thanks for supporting me too. You know. And
once upon a time, you owned the Red Inn as well.
Yeah. Don't ever go into business with your significant other, is my advice. I never thought we'd make our 10th wedding anniversary, but we did. So yeah, this was a scrapbook that came from there, and so I hope you'll give it to the guys. I always meant to do it, and I never did. And there's some pictures in here of a man named Dickon, I forget his name anyway, one of the rooms we named after him, and stuff. It's a beautiful property, and it's in good hands right now too.
You were running it with Dwayne.
Yeah. But then, you know, what happened was Rostenkowski redid the tax code, so all of a sudden people weren't going out for the 2 martini lunches and stuff anymore either. And then we had 2 arson fires. And they were never able to, they think they know who set each one of them, but there was no way of proving it. One guy failed his lie detector, and there were some issues. We did make law there, though, on the counting of the days of when insurance notices get made. That's a whole other story. But yeah, it was an adventure. I care not to. And I love restaurants, but I never want to ever own one again. You know?
I know you have to be somewhere in a minute, but I just wanted to ask you one more question. You appoint the members of the Finance Committee.
Yes.
I think you probably are considered the most powerful political figure in town.
Well,
I mean, do you think?
The longest for sure.
Yeah. So what are your criteria for Finance Committee members?
I just want them to be, to be neutral, to look at everything with an open mind. I don't want them to be connected to anything, as there was that article in the Warrant, as you all know, which would have somebody connected to the school committee, which has a budget, connected to the board, which has a budget. So I don't want them to be connected to any group or political group sort of in town. Be a little more open-minded, to have maybe some business sense, to have some common sense, to
that's the tall ask, Mary Jo.
Yeah, and to just be really devoted to the town. And I think that that there's a whole issue with the second homeowners. Well, I appreciate the fact that they are 70% of the property tax rate, but where you vote and where you pay your taxes, to me, is the criteria for putting somebody on the Finance Committee. And to me, that became a very significant issue. And if you notice this year at this past Springtown meeting, usually for the last several years there's been a representative from the second homeowners wanting to be able to speak and getting permission. There wasn't anybody this year. Did you notice? Not one. Not one. So I know I got into a lot of trouble, and free speech is another big thing for me. And I don't necessarily, one of my appointees, Mark Hatch, we all know, people were criticizing him left and right for some of the things he said. I was criticizing him, on the phone left and right for some of the things he said. But, as someone who grew up in a family of very liberal Democrats, I had an uncle who got kicked out of the Merchant Marine during the Army McCarthy hearings. To me, free speech is the most important right we have. And I will never do anything to curtail free speech, ever. So that was my Finance Committee thing too.
Thank you. Thank you for everything that you're doing for the town.
Well,
it's so nice to meet you
finally. What a great show. I didn't even know about it till Rick told me.
Tell all your friends.
Huh?
Tell all your friends.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
And also a big thank you to all our sponsors, the Red Inn, Cafe Heaven, Adam Howard Metal Workshop, Project Valor Sailing,
Be Well Cannabis. Thank you guys for waking up in Provincetown.
Wherever you are.
And we'll see you next Friday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
Good morning, everybody. Wake up. Improv